Tonight is a unique night. We get to bless the hands. So we have asked a few of our distinguished colleagues from around the university and in the Department of Nursing to come and help with that. We will start off with our opening prayer with Dr. Andrew Smith, who is the Associate Professor of Religion. In a moment, he will come up here on stage and give the opening prayer. After that, Miss Jenna Frost, the Assistant Professor of Nursing, will come give us her understanding of how blessing of the hands is important. And then Dr. Lana Spence, the department chair, and myself will assist in the presentation of pins for each of you, and then we will have a joint blessing of the hands. So Dr. Smith, would you please come up?
Would you pray with me? God in heaven, we come to this place with empty hands, but with the knowledge that empty hands are hands that can receive. In this hour, we ask that you come among us, help us dismiss all our many distractions, and focus on your intention to bless. In the name of your Son, who is Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. If you don't know, Dr. Smith is actually the husband of one of your future professors, Miss Smith. So let me explain this ceremony. What was originally the white coat ceremony has turned into the blessing of the hands for us. Born from the Arnold P. Gold Foundation white coat ceremony, Carson-Newman's blessing of the hand ceremony is a designation or is a rite of passage to emphasize the importance of compassionate patient care at the very start of training. During the ceremonies, students, that's you, will recite the oath and receive a blessing as you begin your clinical area of study. The white coat ceremony was initiated in 1993 at Columbia University Gallegos College of Physicians and Surgeons by the Arnold P. Gold Foundation. Arnold P. Gold, a doctor, a Columbia professor, believed that the oath to compassionate patient care taken by new physicians at the end of medical school came too late. Today, nearly every medical school in the United States, hundreds of nursing schools, and many other health profession schools participate in this tradition of humanistic care. The Gold Foundation is honored to have supported this ceremony today with a grant generously given by board trustee Elaine Adler and administered through the partnership with the American Association of Colleges of Nursing.
Good evening. My name is Jenna Frost, and I teach mental health nursing for your nursing program. And I am glad and honored to be a returning guest speaker of Blessing of the Hands. It is very special, and it's just moving to me. So I'm glad to be here and experience it with you all. So some cool facts to start out about this profession that you have so bravely chosen. The nursing profession is very old. Records date the profession of nursing and caring for the ill for reimbursement as early as 300 AD in the Roman Empire. Nursing has been voted the most honest and ethical profession for 18 years in a row. Nurses beat out many other honest and ethical professionals, including engineers, doctors, pharmacists, police officers, psychiatrists, and even clergy for the top spot. The first formal nurse in America graduated in 1873 at the first nursing school in New England, and she was also credited with developing the written patient record. Prior to this, documents were handmade and left at the responsibility of family members. New websites that we have now, like Ancestry.com, now note that there are many discrepancies in birth dates before this time, likely because there wasn't an official record kept. The first African American nurse graduated from that same novel school in 1878, Mary Eliza Mahoney, and she was at the top of her class that year. There were more than 40 students who enrolled, but only 4 graduated, so nursing school has always notoriously been very difficult. Nurses walk 4 to 5 miles on average during a 12-hour shift. 59% of all workers in healthcare are registered nurses. There are 3 million nurses in America, the same number as the entire population of Jamaica. I'm sure you all have heard of the nursing shortage that we're dealing with, and here are the top 3 reasons that I have found. That people are living longer, so there are just more care needs that we have. Baby boomers are retiring, and others are leaving the workforce or changing careers altogether due to high demands and stress. And nurses are pursuing higher education. This year, nurse practitioners are currently ranked number 2 in overall job satisfaction, while registered nurses are ranked number 47. So nursing is very hard. It's stressful, but it's rewarding. My background as a nurse is working med-surg at UT Medical Center for 5 years. We specialized in vascular surgery and transplant, so I have seen a wide variety of patient demographics, the good, the bad, the funny, the ugly, and I think my time as a nurse in the hospital cultivated my love for the elderly, but also the mentally ill, as many of the transplant recipients that we treated were bipolar type 1, the most severe type, and renal failure from high doses of lithium. I have spent this last month in anticipation for this ceremony interviewing my past co-workers, current co-workers working in the nursing home, family members, church members, acquaintances, and I even posed the question on my Facebook. The one thing that each responder had in common is that they are nurses. The question read, I'm writing a motivational type speech for Carson-Newman nursing students. They are first-year nursing students and will symbolically have their hands blessed before beginning their clinicals. Please share with me the most memorable hands-on thing or just any use of your hands that you have as a nurse. It can be funny, sad, happy, scary. I'm looking for a variety. And share with me how long you have been a nurse. Here are some of my favorite responses. I had an 18-year-old patient who was Jehovah's Witness. He also had sickle cell anemia. His parents rarely left his side. He had great pain, and they prayed over him out loud for healing. His hemoglobin came back critical one morning at 4.8, and I'm not sure if you realize this, but it's not compatible with life. I remember doctors telling this young kid and his parents, without packed red blood cells, he will surely die. His parents asked, how will he die? The doctor said, most likely a massive heart attack. This is 100% preventable. I remember feeling conflicted. Did the doctor have the right to say these things? This was their religious views. I was always taught to respect them. By some crazy chance, this kid's parents left him to run some errands. I will never forget this kid grabbing my hand and saying, I want a blood transfusion, but my parents can't know. This kid was fading, he was pale, he was tachycardic. We didn't have long before his parents returned. My hands were shaking, but they have never worked with such a purpose as in that moment. My coworkers helped me spike the blood, check his vitals, and stand guard for his parents' return. Nursing is so strange because I felt like a villain and a hero all at once. Brenda, a nurse for 7 years. I had a young patient in his 30s receive a kidney transplant. He was born with a congenital kidney disease and had been on dialysis for 2 years, so this was life-changing for him. One day, post-op transplant patients are given massive doses of steroids to prevent rejection, and at times we have seen this cause psychosis, mania, if you will. This particular patient happened to be a barista. I got report on this patient. I go to introduce myself, and he is not in his room. That's strange. He's 1 day post-op from a major abdominal surgery. Where could he be? I find this young man at a nursing pod wearing his work uniform, minus the pants. That's right, nothing but a Foley catheter from the waist down. He is very confused and disoriented and believes that he is making coffee and setting up for a busy morning shift. The doctor tells me that he cannot come lay eyes on this patient for a few hours. I knew that this patient would be mortified in his right mind for so many people and strangers to see him in the nude. So I spent the morning in the break room with my nude patient, helping him make frappuccinos. Amanda, a nurse for 11 years. I had a patient who was admitted to our floor post-op after having her fistula repaired. She was in the farthest corner room on our unit. There happens to be a med room right across from her room. I walked out of this room mindlessly, and something caught my eye, but I said, no way, I must be seeing things. I took a step back and nope, not seeing things. There was blood shooting from this woman's fistula with such great force that it could almost touch the ceiling. The patient was holding pressure on her own, but anytime she let go of her arm to push the call light, cue the blood, and she was unable to signal for help. I pull the code blue bar and immediately apply pressure to her fistula. Long story short, I rode with this patient in her bed all the way to the OR. I was scrubbed into the OR and made as sterile as possible, all while straddling this patient and never releasing pressure. I was not permitted to let go until this lady and myself were moved from her bed to the steel OR table. The lady had an arterial bleed, and her surgeon told us later that she could have bled all the way out in less than 60 seconds. It was exhilarating. Hannah, a nurse for 9 years. I was a new grad nurse, about 6 weeks off of orientation, taking a team of patients on my own. I had had a rapid response, 2 discharges, 2 admissions, no lunch break, no pee break, and I was 1 minute away from crying alone in a supply closet. My patient with dementia is again out of bed, walking down the hallway, about to fall and about to pull his IV out. His wife is frantically trying to corral him back to his room. I link arms with this patient, I lead him back to his room, we sing You Are My Sunshine together, and I get him to take his medicine. His wife has tears in her eyes and says, I haven't heard him sing in years. I will never forget you. This comment was right on time and made my day. Kennedy, a nurse for 1 year. I had a resident in the nursing home that was new to me. I walk in to find her unresponsive one evening, no heartbeat, but still very warm to the touch. I yell for help, and to my great surprise, she is a full code. Weird, no one in the nursing home is a full code. We begin CPR, and shockingly, she comes to. She is angry, and she says, why did you do this to me? Why did you bring me back? Stop it right now. We have her on the monitor. We watch her heart rate closely as we wait for emergency staff to arrive. Her daughter informs us that she is actually a DNR, a do not resuscitate. Oops. Her heart rate begins dropping again, 65, 55, 51. She whispers and smiles, you're going to love it here. 40, 29, 17, flatline. I truly believe that this lady was beginning to be absent from the body and present with the Lord. Bonnie, a nurse for 33 years. I had dozens and dozens of responses, and I wish I could share them all because they are each special and help shape and define nursing in the real world. Not that perfect NCLEX world, like I said, the good, the bad, the funny, the ugly. Nursing is truly a servant's career. Personally, I come from a home of 2 parents who did not go to college. Money was tight, and I decided very young that I wanted to go to college. I wanted a good job. I wanted job security. So nursing, right? I took all the health science classes in high school and proudly told anyone who would listen, I'm going to be a NICU nurse someday. And in case you missed it, I currently work geriatric mental health. I'm not sure why you chose nursing, and you may not even know yet, but I believe that every nurse has that epiphany. This is why I do this. This is why I keep coming back even though it's hard. So no matter where you find yourself as a nurse someday, working with babies, kids, adults, older adults, or specialties like the ER or the ICU, your hands are your tools. They are a resource, and they are caring for real-life people with real stories of their own, with real families. So be patient out there. There are good days and bad days, but you are deeply needed. And soon enough, you'll have stories like this of your own to tell. Thank you.
Okay. Alicia and Chetta. Lexus Bowen. Catherine Bowen. Raymond Brugmans. Miranda Davis. Olivia Denton. Madison Dockery. Alexandra Garcia. Abby Hodge. Alyssa Johnson. Germán Limas Guzmán. Kinsey McGee. Riley Miniz. Cameron Mincy. Abigail Aurelian. Alyssa Parker. Samantha Scarce. Marley Simmons. Macy Smith. Krishna Taylor. Skylar Weaver. Kaylee White. Rebecca Williams. Abigail Zander.
I solemnly pledge myself before God and in the presence of this assembly
I solemnly pledge myself before God and in the presence of this assembly
to practice my profession faithfully and to live my life in that way.
faithfully and to live my life in that way.
Reflect on the values of truth, beauty, and goodness. in the care of individuals, families, and communities. I will provide safe, effective, and compassionate nursing care. Demonstrate sensitivity to culture and values. Advocate for holistic needs. Maintain confidence of personal matters. Collaborate with the healthcare team. Elevate the standards of my profession. You may be seated.
Would you pray with me as we ask for God's blessing on our hands? God in heaven, we confess that we live in a broken world in which we find ourselves face to face with sickness, injury, and sometimes wounds of the mind and the heart that we cannot even see. But in your love and grace, you sent your Son to us in our brokenness. You reconciled us to you, and you have made us your partners in your mission to touch our world with healing and compassion. So in this moment, perched on the edge of a journey into a lifetime of care, we open our hands to you, empty, but poised to be filled with your concern with suffering humanity. We ask you, please, give us a blessing. Bless our hands with technical skill when we're tired. Bless our hands with strength as we are fatigued. Bless our hands with courage when we're fearful. Bless our hands with kindness when we are quick to judge. In this and in all things, we ask that you would use our lives in your mission to redeem all of your beloved people and to make your glory known by every bed in each little room and in all the earth. We ask these things in the name of your Son, who is Jesus Christ. Amen.
Class of 2024, we are excited as you enter this next chapter of your educational journey. As I'm reminded throughout the New Testament, there's a phrase that pops up, and it says something along the lines of Christ was moved with compassion. So as you go out into your clinical experiences, as you're meeting with these patients and these families, my prayer for you is that you would be moved with compassion at the needs of the hurting, and that you would be their biggest cheerleader and their biggest support. And while you're doing that, please know that your faculty are doing the same for you. So we want to be your biggest support. We want to be your biggest cheerleaders. And so please, let us help you as you move forward in this educational journey. Never be afraid to tell us about the difficult times. You had a patient you lost. You had an interaction with a family member that you really weren't sure how to navigate. We love you, we are here for you, and we are so excited to see you progress through your clinical rotations. Thank you again, and blessing.